Hi everybody, how you doing tonight? It is a very warm day here. You can see behind me I had to put my air conditioning in, which is okay. We got a lot of rain last week, but I know we needed it. The whole area needed it, so we were lucky enough not to be affected by the fires. So hopefully the folks that were have you know hopefully that helped. Hope that helped the fire. So yeah, Monday night, June the 12th. And hopefully you're doing well out there in YouTube land. I said that I was going to be doing this. This time I thought I'd give a little bit of notice. Didn't give any notice before. Tonight, mainly what I want to talk about, and it's anybody can watch, of course. Let's see, seem to be having Mr. Mike Ladano, my good friend Mike. Eh, okay, Jacob's commenting. Mike says he can't comment. Oh, there he is. All right, good. Welcome, Jacob. Welcome, Mike. Thank you for watching. Tonight, I mainly want to talk about a show that's coming up a couple nights from now. Not my show, although I have talked about it a lot. If you're in the Fredericton area, thank you very much, good sir. Thank you. Good hair. Hysteria Montreal, Def Leppard tribute band, is playing Dolan's Pub in Fredericton, which is about an hour away from me. 7:30 Wednesday night. And if you're in the Fredericton area, I would love to see you there. Love to see a good turnout at this show. And because the better turnout we have, the more we have, with the more shows that come like this. And I had the pleasure of talking to a couple of the guys from Hysteria Montreal a few weeks ago, posted the episode, and those guys work very hard to get that Def Leppard sound down to, to a T. And yeah, but watch for their tour dates because they're out of Montreal, so they'll be playing all around the country. But I know we get some viewers here from the Fredericton area. Of course, my good friend Matt Phillips will be there, and talked to Dan. He was on an earlier live stream. He's going to be there. So yes, highly recommend going to see this. And I'll be wearing TVC gear, so you'll see somebody with this on. Come say hi. I don't know if there's any followers for my channel that are in the Fredericton area that I haven't met, but maybe there are. Would love to see a good turnout at this. So yeah, I'm encouraging everybody to come out to this. And I know myself, I can. The easiest thing in the world is to talk yourself out of doing anything and not going to things. And I understand that. Oh, do I understand that? But if you like Def Leppard and you like live music, this is going to be a good show. I'm going to post the, just bear with me here. I'm going to find the link to their, just hang on here, folks. I'm going to find the link to their video, and I'm going to post it in the comments for anybody to check out, once I'm done doing this. Just bear with me here. Something else I want to talk about as well, shameless self-promotion. Hang on a second here. Here we go. Okay, so just now posting in the, I say I'm posting, and here we go. Posting the link, hysteriamontreal.com, their videos, some clips of them performing. And immediately you'll look at them and you'll say, well, they don't look like Def Leppard. That is not the point. The point is they sound like them. They sound a lot like them. And they've got a lot of tour dates coming up. And we're fortunate they're coming through the Maritimes. So, yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to meeting the guys, too. Talked to a couple of them. But, they don't know it yet, but I got a little bit of Tim's Final Confession swag for them. So, yeah, would like to see you there. It's fun when a band looks somewhat like them, but yeah, the main thing is the music, and these guys, do a great job of recreating very specific guitar sounds, very specific drum sounds, very specific vocal sounds and harmonies, of course. Also, I want to direct everyone's attention to my Tim's Vinyl Confessions merch over at tpublic.com. Right now, they're in the midst of one of their sales, up to 35% off site wide. We're talking about $16 t-shirts and much more. And those prices go back up in about 6.5 hours. So if you go to tpublic.com, teepublic.com/user/Tim's Vinyl Confessions, and you can see what we've got to offer. It's more than just the Tim's Vinyl Confessions logo. As a matter of fact, Matt designed put some designs up specifically based on Def Leppard, based on the Def Leppard logo, the triangle logo that's on Through the Night. My personal favorite is just the simple black with the yellow logo. There's a Rush-inspired one on here. And of course, there's Unspooled, my 8-track book. There's the graphics from that, one of my personal favorites. Down at the bottom right, you'll see something called Go North Design with a maple leaf on it. That is Matt's company. He's a wonderful designer. Anyone that's seen Unspooled can attest to that. If you need design work done, he's your guy, okay? Make him very, very busy because he deserves it. So yeah, prices go back up in 6.5 hours. Now, they'll go back down again, but this time around, yes, there is a sale for TeePublic. One of the things that I've noticed with TeePublic is that sometimes the shipping gives you a little bit of sticker shock, okay? But shipping is expensive in most places. And I will say that once again that the quality of the products, quality of the shirts, the hoodies, the baseball shirts, it's very good. This stuff can stand up to being washed, and there's a lot more than just stuff that you can wear. If you just want a sticker to slap on something with the logo on it, if you want a pin, if you want a coffee mug, it's all there. So check it out. And some good friends of mine that have channels also have merch on here. Grab a Stack of Rock, Too Loud, Too Old Music, The Contrarians. Forgive me if I'm forgetting anybody, but there's a nice little search bar. So there's some really funny designs on here. There's some spoof designs, but I have to be more self-promoting, so take a look at the Tim's Vinyl Confession stuff first and foremost. So yeah, Def Leppard Montreal, or Hysteria Montreal, sorry. Hysteria Montreal. The website is hysteriamtl.com. 2 nights from now, hopefully be rocking out, seeing what those guys are going to do. And I've made a point of not looking at the recent set list because I kind of want to be surprised, but I will say this. It's not the expected. It's not just greatest hits. They're constantly learning new songs to add to the set. And when I say new songs, I'm talking all the way up to the most recent studio album, Diamond Star Halos. So these guys know their stuff, and they're constantly going back and relearning new songs. And learning the parts of the songs that they already know, because as anyone that really, knows about this band, there's complex songs. These are not simple pop songs. They might sound easy, but they're not. I just dropped something. Hang on. Yes, so that's coming up this week. Thanks everyone for I got a lot of views today on my latest Tim's Vinyl Confessions, which is my Boston 8-track episode, which isn't a very big collection, but for what it's worth, it is complete. And today would have been Brad Delp's birthday. Tragic end to one of the greatest rock singers ever. It's also Bunny Carlos' birthday. If you're a Cheap Trick fan, he's not in the band right now, but legally he is. It's very strange, but it is Bunny's birthday. Because Def Leppard hasn't played it, I'd love to see a tribute play Demolition Man. Yeah. And here's the thing, maybe they do. Based on some of the other songs I know they've learned, it wouldn't surprise me if they brought out a deeper cut like Demolition Man. But yeah, good call on that one, Jacob. Got an episode, going to be filming some episodes. Most of the time I don't go live. Most of the time it's pre-recorded. But we're going to be recording episodes reviewing the new Extreme album, new Rival Sons album, some reissues, from Y&T and Honeymoon Suite. And of course, I am going to do a wrap up episode based on the uh, the Hysteria Montreal show. And the end of next week, my wife Sarah and I will be going to see um, a tribute band where they do try to look like the band members, and that would be Rumors, which is a Fleetwood Mac tribute band. They were a lot of fun. We really enjoyed seeing them a few years back. I think it's been about 5 years. Yeah, I think it's been about 5 years since we saw them. So they're coming to the Playhouse in Fredericton, so we'll be going to that. And August 3rd, in St. John at the Imperial Theater. Matt, Will, and myself are going to see the one, the only Steve Vai. I am so excited about this. He's never, to my knowledge, Steve Vai in any incarnation come anywhere close to this area. So this is a huge, huge deal. And I'm very, very much looking forward to the show. I've got something very, very special coming up to do with this show. I can't really talk about it yet because nothing's been finalized, but hope to have a very, very cool episode to bring you that's based on Steve Vai coming to St. John. So, yeah, it really doesn't matter how many times I've gone to see live concerts when the lights go to black and you can see the band walking on a stage. I still get excited. Saw Loverboy Kim Mitchell earlier this year. It was great. So yeah, there's some cool shows looking forward to. I really, I've gotten to the point where I really like the casino sized shows, the theater sized shows. I'm almost 49, so the big shows just don't hold the interest for me. And so fortunately, a lot of the groups I like are playing the theater type shows, the casino type shows, which are still pretty decent crowds. But yeah, it's suits me just fine. What do we got? We got 4 people watching now. That's not bad. So yes, if you haven't really looked through the merchandise, I'd recommend it. Matt's done a great job of uploading all kinds of cool designs. If you scroll down, there's a variety of them: white on black, black on white. A lot of them are variants of my logo, but there's some other cool ones there as well. Yes, what have we got coming up? Yeah, my mind just went blank, I guess. Anybody mowed their lawn lately? I got a very small window of opportunity Saturday morning and got the lawn mowed before it started to rain again. And the only good thing about it is that when you do mow it, it looks that much better. Lawns are overrated, Mike. All they do is attract mosquitoes, especially if you live in the swamp like we do. Something that should be different this coming Saturday is it'll be the first time that 2 of us will be together filming an episode in quite some time. So hopefully that goes well. Oh, another one that I'm filming is a cassette episode. I love filming cassette episodes. Hey, Ches. And Ches is on deck for a couple of review episodes once he gets the goods. And yeah, like I talked about last week, it was the strangest thing. I got the new Extreme vinyl and CD and the Y&T Yesterday and Today Live reissue vinyl and CD 3 days before the release date. There's nothing. It's just funny when you have to create an entry on Discogs, and Discogs asks you to confirm that you actually own this. It's like, yes, I am from the future. Oh, you got your Y&T. Okay, let's talk about that. Yeah, what Jax is referring to real quick. I don't have the vinyl handy, but Yesterday and Today Live, new reissue on Metal Blade, featuring a couple of songs that were not on the original. And the new Extreme 6. Look at that. I'm not going to talk about how much I'm enjoying the album, because I am enjoying it. But yeah, cool artwork there. And this too. This is awesome. Let's see. What do I think of the new Extreme? Watch this space for more, Jacob. I can't give everything away, but yeah, there will definitely be a review episode coming up. For those of you who enjoyed last year's Yacht Rock episode, I can tell you that there's a sequel to that's coming up. It's in the can, and it won't be too long before we bring that one out. That was a lot of fun. And I should be writing these things down as they go because I had a thought as I was saying something and now it's gone. Just taking a quick look around and that nothing is coming to me. Oh well, maybe it'll maybe it'll come back. Uh, Jacob's got definite opinions of the second half. It's quite varied, I will say that. The new Extreme, that is. But I'm just glad they're back. I'm glad Winger's back. It's like kind of like hearing from old friends when you get these bands that are, back after these long extended absences. Um, yeah, there was something else that I was going to bring up, and do you think I can remember what it is? No, no, I cannot. Hmm. And also, if there's anybody that anybody out there knows that's in the Fredericton area that you don't know if they watch this show or not, tell them about this show. Spread the word. Word of mouth can do a lot too for getting people in. And I'm talking about the Def Leppard tribute show in a couple nights. Um, hmm. Just reading down through the comments here. I don't know if I missed any or not. I don't think so. So Chaz is also waiting on the Honeymoon Suite Clifton Hill reissue, which I got, and it wasn't exactly what I was expecting, but we'll talk about that when we review it. Coney Hatch, their Postcard from Germany live album. It's I haven't seen pre-orders for it yet, but the new single "It's About a Girl" is out, and anytime Coney Hatch has new music out is a good day for me. So that'll be a review episode down the road. So looking forward to that. But that wasn't what I was trying to think of. Um, hmm. Getting old. I don't recommend it, guys. Anybody got any questions other than what do I think of the new Extreme, which is a good question, but if I answered that, there'd be no point in us doing a review episode. Actually, there would, because there's three other people that are going to give their opinions on it too, which I'm also looking forward to, to hearing what everybody thinks of it. Same thing with the latest Yes album. I avoided watching other reviews because I didn't want it to taint my opinion of it. Now I'll go back and watch a few. Alice Cooper hasn't been officially announced, but a lot of insiders are saying August 25th, Road is the new album. Excellent. August 25th also happens to be upcoming release date of the new Vandenberg album, Sin. I love, love, love the artwork. Love the artwork. It's obviously it's Adrian Vandenberg artwork again, so it's like astoundingly good. They're bringing the Sharks back from Heading for a Storm. Honeymoon Suite will be here soon. Yeah, just a heads up, Chess. Not that it means a heck of a lot, but my copy came and it was only signed by Johnny D and Derry Green, probably because, so Gary Lalonde and Dave Betts are in the band. They didn't play on Clifton Hill for some reason. I'm not sure why. Ray Coburn on keyboards played on the album. He's not in the band anymore, so that's why it's just the two guys that signed it. But it's still signed. It's not. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just it wasn't exactly what I was expecting. Ches also looking forward to the Vandenberg. We'll be reviewing that. The idea of getting stuff signed is kind of cool. I agree with you, Mike. I liked some of the stuff on Detroit Stories, but I couldn't really get into it. I loved Paranormal. I thought that was great. I thought that was a great album. I still think that's got some really, really strong songs on it. And, some more of that. Now, is this supposed to be this new Road album, if that's what it's called? I've seen the graphic too. Is this going to be where he is writing with Desmond Child again? Because, Trash, Hey Stupid, that's my, that's when I not become aware of Alice, but I mean, that was his commercial era. So, I'm all about that stuff, especially the Hey Stupid album. Like, especially the Hey Stupid album. I really, really like that album. I like it much better than Trash. Overall, just my opinion. Yeah, I gotta get that new Tesla Live album. I had no urge whatsoever to get the London one. I just didn't. But I have been seeing. I do like the cover of it. I think it's got a cool cover on it, and the fact that they're doing some deep tracks like Miles Away. This is Tesla, mind you, not Winger. We're talking about. Yeah, that's one I got to pick up at some point. This coming Friday is supposed to be the release date for the new Steve Lukather album, Bridges, which apparently is going to be the closest thing to a Toto album there's ever going to be again. So I do have that pre-ordered. I will be reviewing that coming up. I don't know if Kane Roberts is going to be on this. Like, it's strange because Alice's touring band is often not his recording band, and I know a lot of people have thought, why is that the case? Why doesn't he have his touring band and recording band the same? But it's Alice. He can do whatever he wants, you know. And the nice thing about Alice is that you're never far away from a new album. You know, it's only been a couple years since Detroit Stories, and he'll have another one this year. So. It's kind of interesting. Someone mentioned, Coney Hatch, another live album, because the last thing they put out was Live at the El Macambo. That was a little bit different, though. That was a socially distanced show, only a few people. This is a full on live gig. Talking about bands coming to this area. Coney Hatch, if they've ever played the Maritimes, it's been a long, long time ago. The closest I've ever come to seeing Coney Hatch is. Saw Carl Dixon do an acoustic show in 2005, and that was great, but it wasn't Coney Hatch. He did Hey Operator, but the rest of it, he did, a bunch of covers and some of his own songs, and he sounded fantastic. This was before his accident, and I still think he sounds good. And I'm also glad that there are new studio tracks on here. Yes, look up LeBrain Train, Andy Curran, Sean Kelly. Ches. And while you're at it, yes, look up Grant's Rock Warehouse, where Grant, Martin, and I did an episode on Coney Hatch, and one of my favorite episodes that I've done, where I had Mike and Deke and the man himself, Andy Curran, and we did a complete Coney Hatch review. That's been one of the highlights of my channel since I've been doing it, because Coney Hatch is one of those bands that I trumpet to everybody. If you like melodic hard rock and you've never heard of Coney Hatch, then you're in for a treat. And I got to tell Andy Curran that yes, your first album with Coney Hatch exists on 8-track, and showed him a picture of it. Now I don't own it. It may be the only opportunity that if it ever comes up on eBay, that I'll get into a bidding war with a member of the band on one of their own albums. So I know it's on his radar now, which is kind of fun. So there you go. Speaking of 8-tracks, got one in the mail today, but I'm saving that for an episode 2. Always like to have new episode ideas in the can. I can change them out if something gets released. Grant's with your and John Snow's episode on Aldo Nova. Yes. Yeah, we've done a few episodes on it. Grant had an episode on Aldo, and then I had John on an episode. And hopefully Aldo puts out his full rock opera, Life and Times of Eddie Gage, because I really liked the 10-song sampler that he put out. And I just knew I want to hear more music from this guy because I'm a huge fan. He recently reissued his album, Nova's Dream, minus I guess John told me that it doesn't have the interludes on it anymore, which is kind of cool. Thank you, Ches. Yeah, I was lucky enough to get Third Stage on 8-track finally. Those later 80s 8-tracks are just so scarce. You just don't see them all that much. And I've been very, very fortunate. I have to give a lot of credit to folks that I've gotten to know over on the 8-track fixation page on Facebook. Periodically, people will be selling spares, and I luck out and get in on some of those. So that's how I ended up with Third Stage, which is really cool because, Boston only had 3 albums, and it's just one of them and happens to be from 1986. Like, It's not so much the case now, because if you're starting an 8-track collection, I know Mike is starting an 8-track collection. But back in the 90s, it was a little bit easier. Not much. It's never been easy. But if you're into classic rock, if you were into classic rock and you were starting an 8-track collection back in the 90s, there were a few. There were a few titles that you did see a lot that were good. And so if you started an 8-track collection back in the 90s and you couldn't find the first Boston, or for that matter, Don't Look Back, you weren't looking very hard. Because those albums were so popular, right? You'd definitely find those ones. You'd find Cheap Trick at Budokan, Dream Police, Nazareth's Greatest Hits, April Wine on Record, Stand Back. Those seem to be the two popular April Wine ones on 8-track. There's a few that you'd spot out and about, but honestly, if I bet you my 8-track collection would be a third of what it is now if it was simply ones that I found myself out in the wild. Most of them I have had to get off eBay or Discogs or buy from sellers online. And Chrissy from the Y&T fan page Instagram is here. And so, hello, Chrissy. Have you got this yet? Because it's awesome. Chrissy took the Y&T fan page Instagram over for me, and she's done a great job with it. Lots of cool photos and some live stuff. Again, another band that never, ever, 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 ever comes up this way as Y&T, and I understand that. You got to go where the fans are. You got to go where the majority of the fans are. But man, I'd love to see those guys in concert. I know that it's Dave Menichetti is the only original guy left. The band still sounds fantastic. Amen, Kevin. Most underrated band ever, overlooked. And again, melodic hard rock. Check them out. And if you go, yeah, Y&T, Summertime Girls. No. That is not representative of what they sound like. That's like saying, oh yeah, Van Halen, Jump. That is not representative of Van Halen. It's kind of the same thing. Very similar, actually. No, I think it's a great song. But yeah. There's just, don't get me started on them. Oh yeah, well there's another story there. I don't know the answer to that, Jacob. I'd love to hear new Y&T music. I don't know, but I am working on getting Mr. LeBrain into the band. He now has the Definitive Collection CD, which is a good starter, a really good starter CD, and turns out that he liked Contagious, the song back in the day, and memories came flooding back, which is a great thing when you don't hear a song that you liked back, then you hear it again. It's great, you know. Oh, Mike, you will digest these albums, I insist. I don't know if you caught Mike's live broadcast last Friday with our mutual good buddy and co-host Jex. Jegs at Stage Left. That's my nickname for him now. But Mike opened a cassette tape that I sent him. He's got a cassette deck now. Really looks like a sweet cassette deck, I might add, like a really, really cool one. And I've been at him for months that he's got to get Journeys in the beginning if he wants to say his collection is complete. And he keeps saying he doesn't need it. This is the guy that buys, the Japanese issues because it's got an acoustic version of something, or it's got... He's like, no, I don't need this compilation. So I sent him the cassette. I found him a cassette that looked to be in good shape. So he's got it now in some form or another. If I'm completely honest, if I could have found an 8-track for sale of In the Beginning, I would have sent him that. But In the Beginning is not the easiest 8-track to find. Now, it's not the hardest, but it's definitely not the easiest. And we're both big Journey fans. I think most people that watch this know that. Again, I want to mention Journey Through Time, the Neil Schon live recording. I'm calling it a Journey album. It's in Neil's name, but it's so good. It's I know a few people on here have talked about that too. It's been out for a little while. But that's a case where, I'll be honest, I don't have Journey's Lollapalooza live album, and I don't have any plans on getting it because it's a very boring, predictable set list. Neil Schon's Journey Through Time is the opposite of a boring, predictable set list. I'm sure it's good, but this stuff is just, you know, Neil, Dean Castronovo, Greg Raleigh, Mark Mendoza, and John Varn. I don't know who John Varn is, but he's in the background playing the synths. Those guys, they're just cooking on stage, and they're all in this like very very small enclosed space. Very cool. Big difference between different tracks and the greatest hits, though. Would you call it a greatest hits, though? Not one of those songs is a hit on in the beginning. It's a comp. It's a compilation. Anyway, so it was worth it to see the look on his face when he opened it up. That's kind of what it's all about. Just, I think I've got everybody's comments. We had 6 people watching now. That's not bad. That's not bad. Well, I use that phrase like other people say Kleenex. Right. Yeah, I mean, I've I've bought a lot of compilations over the years that I didn't need, but sometimes like if you're, sometimes you just want to leave a store having bought something, right? A couple years ago, I guess it's been about 3 years ago now. I did a road trip episode on it. It was during people were still wearing masks, and we went to Moncton, and I ended up finding a lot of vinyl. Found some 8 tracks. I found a couple of CDs. One of the CDs that I wanted to buy was a compilation. That's what made me think of that. Is Thin Lizzy Dedication, and when I took it up to the front counter, they took it because it didn't have the disc in it. They took it to get the disc, and the disc wasn't where it was supposed to be. And I said, "Oh, that's okay. I won't get that one." And I don't know why I didn't just say, I don't know what was in it, but whatever album was in it, I should have said, well, let's find the case of this album, and maybe they're just reversed, but I'll get it eventually. Thin Lizzy is a band that I need to spend some more time with, and it's such a deep catalog, but I like what I've heard. I've been having a lot of fun doing the Building a Concept album on the Contrarians with Martin Popoff. Did an AC/DC one, the Sammy Hagar one. Mike and I talked a long time ago. We were going to do a Thin Lizzy episode. It got put on the back burner. There is a Thin Lizzy episode coming up. It's just a matter of affordability. It's like, what am I, finding, resources to get everything. I have some Thin Lizzy. Like I've got for CDs. I've got Shades of Blue Orphanage, Jailbreak, Live and Dangerous, which has a reputation for being one of the greatest live albums. I can see why. I love Thunder and Lightning. I have Thunder and Lightning too. Like that was their last one. But I mean, John Sykes. I mean, come on. Does it sound like Thin Lizzy necessarily? No, but it's good. And I've got their 2-disc greatest hits from 2004, which is cool because it's got things on it like Gary Moore Out in the Fields, which I remember seeing the video to that on Much Music. It's definitely Thin Lizzy. I mean, if you get Phil Lynott, it sounds like Thin Lizzy. It's just musically, it's much much heavier. But the 2-disc greatest hits is good because it's got a good mix of songs. A lot of songs that I don't have on anything else. One that I'm always amused by is the Phil Lynott solo song Yellow Pearl, which is totally new wave. Joe Elliott says there will be a 40th anniversary of Pyromania with unreleased stuff. Bring it on. Bring it on. Something to something to get the memory of Drastic Symphonies out of my head. Yes, I said it. I think you should check out Johnny the Fox and Bad Reputation next. Both are great. Here's the funny thing, Jacob. I have both of those, but I have Johnny the Fox on 8-track with no means of playing it, and I've got Bad Reputation on cassette, again, no means of playing it. And vinyl, the Thin Lizzy vinyl, you never see that for $15. It's always $30, $35, $40. Yes, Romeo and the Lonely Girl is on the double disc. That's good. King's Call is good. It's got like some of Phil's solo stuff on there. And Live and Dangerous is fantastic. I mean, all I've got is just the regular Joe version, but I can see why people like it so much. Even Shades of Blue Orphanage from '72 is good. It's early, but you can tell it's Thin Lizzy. Sorry, Matt. We get all the Y&T talk out of the way. I don't always succeed in getting people into these bands that I love, but hey, for the most part, for the most part, gotta have that taste, right? um, so yeah, Matt, a lot of Def Leppard talk. Tim was bragging. You know, Mike, it's not bragging if you can back it up. Yeah, Matt, I was talking a lot about the Hysteria Montreal show. Looking forward to seeing that. I mean, um, I had their live album in my hands. I'm almost going to ask if you had it. Oh, this probably. Um, yeah, yeah. Oh, I wasn't gonna get it. Ches, was it you that told me that that was coming out? And I said, "Oh, that's cool. I've already got it on vinyl." He said, "There's two bonus tracks on it." So they do Earthshaker, not the album, the song Earthshaker from the first album, and Rescue Me, which weren't on the first one. Black Rose, yeah, I've heard some songs on it, but yeah, like I said, I gotta dig deeper into that. You know, Jax is just one of those guys that he's just easygoing and he fits into any situation. Love having him as a co-host. He's a super guy. He fits right in with Mike. He's great on Distortion Den with Deke. He's adaptable, you know? Like a really, really good obscure Alice Cooper song, adaptable. Anything for you. From Zipper Catches Skin. Yeah, we have some extremely extreme thoughts on extreme. I'm just so glad it's finally, you know, after this long. I actually listened to a little bit of Sauvage de Rock today, and if you can listen to that song "Run" and not bob your head, there's something wrong. That's got such an unstoppable groove to it. It's so good. Now, one thing I forgot about because I hadn't actually looked inside the credits of Sauvage de Rock for a long time. I can't read it. it's it's written like it's you know it's in cursive. Not that I can't read cursive, but it's very small, and it's really really hard to read. Um, yeah, Thin Lizzy. I mean, one album doesn't necessarily sound like the next. There were two bands that I checked out back in the downloading days because just about every band that I liked talked about them, and the bands were Thin Lizzy and UFO, and I listened to a bunch of stuff from both, and just my opinion, I didn't hear anything from UFO that took hold with me. I know a lot of people love them. A lot of people love Michael Schenker. I just didn't hear anything that grabbed a hold. Thin Lizzy, there were quite a few songs that I really, really dug, and it was different. So yeah, it worked because I mean, Def Leppard always talked about being influenced by Thin Lizzy. I don't have the new Tesla one yet, Chrissy. I behind on that. Anybody know if they're working on new music? I was really disappointed by their last album, Shock. I didn't like it at all. And I was excited about it because it came out right around the Winger cover. The it was announced that the new album was coming out right around the time we got tickets to see Tesla opening for Def Leppard, and so I got excited and I opened it, and then I got it, and I'm like, I just couldn't get into it. Love Phil Collin, but he has no like. Let Tesla sound like Tesla. There was one song on that album. I think it was called "Tied to the Tracks" that I really liked, and it sounded like something off Psychotic Supper. Other than that, I could not get into it. I like some BOC songs. Like I love "Burning for You." That's a great song. I love the song "Dancing in the Ruins." Um, I love "Take Me Away," which is an Aldo Nova song or a co-write anyway. Um, Playing two new songs on the live album. They are classic Tesla. Good. I'm glad to hear it. I love the band. I love Great Radio Controversy. That's probably still my favorite. And I love Psychotic Supper and the first one too. So Yeah, Blue Oyster Cult's a different kind of band for sure. My friend Chad, that's been on the show before, um, likes a lot of the Blue Oyster Cult stuff. I actually bought him. I've never heard from him what he thought of it, but SOS and on the covers albums they do the reel to reel. They do Seasons of Wither, another Get Your Wings track. I love when people bring those old classic Aerosmith songs to life, and I really like the cover of Make It Last because I always thought that Jeff Keith would sound really good singing a Sammy Hagar song, and it did. Hollywood Vampires. I wish I could have gotten excited about that more too. I like some of the stuff. Some of the stuff I really liked. I will say I like the second album much more than I like the first album because it's got more original songs on it. But I'm all about new Alice stuff. Man, what can they possibly put out for Aerosmith? I mean, that hasn't already been put out. I mean, unless they're really raiding the vaults. I know there's lots of unreleased songs, but like I'm not particularly interested in hearing a bunch of Just Push Play outtakes. But yeah, ZZ Top. Matt, you'll be glad to hear this. The other day I put on that Billy Gibbons album, Hardware, and I really like it. I mean, it just sounds basically like a modern day ZZ Top album. And it's probably the closest that there will ever be to one. So, oh, Kiss, or you talk about a band that's top heavy with comps, but yeah. Yeah, me neither. It doesn't do anything for me, but hey, people like them. Um, Good song on Sodage de Rock, though, called Ghost. But Run, and I love Comfortably Dumb too. And we were talking about Jax. I really wish that some company would reissue Sodage de Rock because it was only issued once, and used copies are very expensive to get. Ghost of a Chance. There you go. Why are we here? Because we're here. Today was also the anniversary of Clockwork Angels, released on this date in 2012. I still really like that album a lot. See you, Chaz. Thank you. Thanks for coming on. Let me know when you get the honeymoon suite, and we will film that up. I looked at that too, Mike. Those are that's even more expensive. Take Us Alive is good. Take Us Alive is good. It's a good live album. There you go, a man with taste. Rush and Y&T are probably at the top for me. Def Leppard's up there for sure, and they've been there for years. I think Mike and I were linked at the, no pun intended, at the brain because the fact that we both looked at Zellers for that Historia tape cassette is ridiculous, but funny. Draps, yes, yes. I don't forget about them, but I do forget about them. But it's good. It's good stuff. They can play just about anything, and it's good stuff. That was wild. That was just the most crazy coincidence, and the fact that you knew exactly where I was going with the story. You guys ever order something from the mail and you kind of in your mind you feel like it should have arrived and it doesn't? That's kind of what I'm thinking about a couple of things, but I'm hoping that either tomorrow or Wednesday I get my merch, the latest merch order from TeePublic, because I did get some stickers with the Tim's Vinyl Confessions looking like the Def Leppard logo that I wanted to give to the guys in Hysteria Montreal. So hopefully those come. Otherwise, I'll have some stickers, I guess. Yeah, there you go. Same thing. So yeah, we want to look the part when we get there. Was also talking about Steve Vai, Matt. We're going to see Steve Vai. I never ever thought that would be happening, without us traveling far to, Boston at least, because to be playing like a couple hours away. Mail doesn't arrive in time. Mail drive. Yeah. Knock on wood, Jacob, that has never happened to me, but I've thought it. Especially when you order like two or three things, and the thing that you think is going to come first doesn't, and things that you ordered like a week later all come, and you're like, "What's going on? Where's this other thing?" And yeah, may have to get. Actually, what would be really cool is if Steve is selling in Violet on vinyl at the show, because I don't have that on vinyl. It's a great, great album. You know, it is. The Maritimes has never been a hotbed for classic rock, and there are just certain bands that just don't come to the area. I was talking. I've gotten to know Josh, who's an admin on the Night Ranger page, and Night Ranger have never played the Maritimes, and it's funny because I saw them play a show. They were playing a show somewhere down in the States with Loverboy, and it was going to take somebody like Loverboy that's Canadian but big in the States to bring bands like this up here. Yeah, I was putting the call out to see who was watching this. It's in the Fredericton area, Matt. So I'm hoping for a good turnout. And I think you missed it. Jacob suggested it would be cool to hear them do something like Demolition Man, and I said it is possible because they're constantly learning songs to add. Like there's going to be some deep cuts. It's not just going to be like going to see the Vault album, start to finish. There's going to be some deep cuts. So. So what would be on a 40th anniversary of Pyromania that already hasn't been released, I wonder? You know what I'd like to hear is, and I don't know what this even would ever happen, but if anyone's ever seen the, there you go. If anyone's ever seen the Classic Albums documentary on Hysteria when they're playing early parts of songs. Yeah, Matt brings up a good point. All artists that never come around here. Chickenfoot, even Sammy Hagar has never played here. So, hey, you know what? I saw today the Van Halen set list from the Fair Warning tour, which opened in Halifax. It's a few hours away from here, but it's doable. What a weird place to start the tour in Halifax, but anyway. Yeah, Steve Vai would have been one of those bands that I never would have thought would play around here. I mean, Extreme played here in '92, just before I started going to see concerts. They were part of the. I think Bryan Adams was the headliner, but there were a bunch of bands that played Parley Beach, and Extreme was one of those bands. You know, it would be a cool live album. Hold on to that thought, Kevin. Cool live album would be a really, really well done version of Def Leppard at Donington in '86, their big comeback show, with Bruce Dickinson on lead umbrella. If you've ever heard the bootlegs, you'll know what I'm talking about. Yeah, Rush started Hold Your Fire in Halifax. They played St. John. They played Moncton. And then they never played the Maritimes again until 2013 when they played Halifax. They never played. The Hold Your Fire tour was the last time Rush ever played in New Brunswick, which kind of stinks because I wasn't going to shows. I was just getting into Rush then, but at 13 years old, I had no older brothers, no older cousins to take me to shows, so, hey. But thanks to Matt, I did get to see them in Toronto in 2004, the R30 tour, which was awesome, the Molson Amphitheater. So 68 times. The most I've ever seen any one band live. I've seen April Wine 5 times. I've seen Def Leppard 3 times. Like I've never seen, you know, I've never seen any one band more than that. Yes, Jacob, that was a big, big thing. They did not play the Maritimes on the Power Windows tour, and there were petitions to have them play. And what's cool about that is if you go on YouTube and type in Rush Hour 1987, it's in 4 parts, but it was a series, or it was a special that Much Music put out at the end of 1987. That when I watched that, I was just getting into the band. It gave me a lot of like information about the band that I just didn't know much about, other than I liked their music, and it did show them loading in and setting up for the Halifax show, which was cool. Matt, wasn't Aerosmith in '93 one of the very first shows at Harbor Station? Like it had just opened. We tried to get tickets to it, but it was sold out. Um, Lunchtime. Wow. Good to see you, Chrissy. Thanks for watching. Lunchtime. It is 7:21 p.m. here as I sit. Thanks everybody for being on here. This is I wasn't sure how this would go, but people seem to be into it. Yeah, I have something I like is fun to do. Well, the Iron Maiden show, Matt, was like there didn't seem to be any advertising for it because a lot of people talked about it, but it was all after the fact. It's and when I remember when I first heard it, I'm like, no, they didn't. Iron Maiden didn't play in St. John. I do know this because I have an older cousin that lived in Riverview, who was a huge Iron Maiden fan. Like this is Power Slave era, and saw them at the old Moncton Coliseum with Twisted Sister opening. So there you go. Used to be a lot of bands used to come through there. I remember when we used to stay at my aunt and uncle's place. Chris would always go to a buddy's place, and I'd stay in his room. And he was like the metalhead. He had was Eddie was just everywhere. There was Iron Maiden stuff everywhere. Mirrors. Remember the mirrors you'd get with the album covers and stuff? Big posters, banners. First time I ever heard of Metallica was Chris had something on his wall. But yeah, Maiden, Priest, AC/DC, Scorpions. He had High and Dry, which is cool because that was when I actually recorded from him before I bought it myself. I told this story before. Because of Chris's posters on his wall, I used to think Bon Jovi was French, but that's another story. I think this thing was just called Old Orchard, Maine, Kevin. Just give me 2 seconds because I've got the ticket stub. Hold on. Just says ballpark / Old Orchard Beach. Yeah. Got there. There were 6 of us that went. When we got there, we had no idea about an opening act, and there were Skid Row posters everywhere with the Subhuman Race era, not just the album cover, but the faces on top of the blue, like the album cover, but they all said not appearing. Skid Row is not appearing. So it was like kind of cruel because we didn't know they were, which would have been really exciting. And listen, everybody likes what they like, but what we got instead of Skid Row was Our Lady Peace. And not my cup of tea. That was the Balance Tour, Kevin. August 6, 1995. So one time I got to see Van Halen live when 2020 Neil Peart passed away, Eddie Van Halen passed away, and I was bummed out, both of those guys. But at least I got to see each of them once. Yeah, and to think that would have been like the last tour with Sebastian Bach. Ugh, yeah, not an alt rock guy in any way, shape, or form. But anyway, but you know, Van Halen were great. Um, didn't exactly strike me as a band that all hated each other at that point, but less than a year later, hey, um, that's the only time I've seen a show at Old Orchard. And Kevin, what year would that have been that you saw Van Halen? Wow, who opened for that show? Do you remember? BTO, yeah. I knew that there was a version of BTO that opened some shows. Kim Mitchell actually opened some shows for them, and I don't think just in Canada either, which is kind of neat. Um, it's interesting if you look at Van Halen's concert history. It's been speculated that they kind of went out of their way in the Roth era to pick crappy opening bands, so they just couldn't wait for Van Halen to get on stage. I think they had whatever you think of the lead singers, but I think Van Halen's live album or live shows as far as opening acts got better when when Sammy joined because they had like Alice in Chains open for them and Skid Row on some of the shows. um, that's another show that I would love to see come to Casino and be in Moncton is Jason Bonham's Led Zeppelin experience because they were awesome. Saw them opening for Whitesnake and Foreigner in Bangor, and they only played about 45 minutes. I would have loved to have seen a full set. That'd be perfect for Casino and B. They could fill that place easily. I'd love to see that come back. Yeah, the Fools. I've heard of them. Um, they had other weird opening bands like 9 out of 10 Doctors or 4 out of 5 Doctors or something like that. So you did see Van Halen with Alice in Chains, okay? Yeah. Um, in '93, it would have been cool to see because Van Halen did the live to support the live album, but they toured with Vince Neil, and Vince was in a lot better shape back then on his first solo album. That would have been a fun double bill to see with Steve Stevens on guitar. Monsters of Rock. Oh, you're talking Monsters of Rock with Metallica and Dokken and Scorpions and Kingdom Come and like, is that the one that you mean? I've heard so many stories about that. Yeah. So is it really like they make the reports out to be that like Metallica just like totally trampled Dokken after when they came on, or Metallica came on first and then Dokken came on and people just didn't want to know? Because that seems to be the common narrative. I thought that they probably should have had Dokken go on first and then Metallica at that point in time, um, but yeah. Uh, Cinderella are from Philly too, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. And Richie Kotzen. That's Winery Dogs. I'd love to see them live. But Winery Dogs coming to St. John is about as likely as Steve Vai. So you never know. We're seeing someone that used to play in David Lee Roth's band. um, I'd like to see Tom Kiefer's band. I mean, it's Cinderella were we yeah, in August of 2000 we saw Poison with a headliner. It was Cinderella, Dokken, and Slaughter, and that was a great show. I'm not even a big Slaughter fan. They were great live. Dokken were pretty good. One of two times I've seen Reb Beach live. Sadly, neither of them were Winger. I've seen them with Dokken and with Whitesnake. Cinderella were fantastic. I thought their set was great. I thought Tom sounded amazing. And Poison were great. They entertained. Matt was very, very, very lucky to see a Kip Winger acoustic show, and he might explain in the chat why he was extremely lucky, because that wouldn't have happened, a few months difference. Kevin, are you a Winger fan, and do you have the new album? Curious what people are thinking of that, because I love it. I think it's great. Um, yeah, I can still remember like the smoke, and Tom Kiefer comes out with the double neck, and they started with night songs. It was really, really cool. Okay. I think that if someone's only familiar with the first couple of Winger albums, I definitely think that you should at least go on YouTube and check out some of their later material. It is really, really good stuff. Um, yeah, Cinderella's show was great. Rod Morgenstein's a monster. Dixie Dregs, the Steve Morse Band. Yeah, did you see Steve Morse Band open for Rush? Because I know they opened for Rush, Power Windows era. That would have been good. I mean, I'm not familiar with Steve Morse solo stuff, but I'm huge Kansas fan, and I love the album Power. I absolutely love that album, the first one that Steve did with him, and I like all the Latter Day Deep Purple stuff too. Although I guess they're doing a new album with Simon McBride, which I've liked the last few they've done. Like I like Now What and Infinite and Whoosh. Okay, did you see them with Mr. Big, Kevin? Or was it someone else? I know Mr. Big opened a lot of the. Yeah, wow, that'd have been cool. That'd have been cool. Um, yes, same Steve Morse, Matt. Yeah. So he was in the Dixie Dregs from like the mid '70s on, and Rod Morgenstein was the drummer in Dixie Dregs. Steve went solo in the mid '80s, I think, but did two or three albums. And then he joined Kansas for two albums, and he continued to release his own albums. And he replaced Blackmore in '95. So from Perpendicular on, Perpendicular is a fantastic album too. It's good stuff. Uh, Matt will remember this. There was a professor when we went to community college named Steve Morris. But I remember when someone said his name, I heard Steve Morse. I knew it wasn't him. I just thought it was somebody with the same name. Yeah, and he's one of those guys that can just about play anything. I've got like I said, I love the Power album, and like Perpendicular was a really good introduction for him. He doesn't sound anything like Richie Blackmore, but it doesn't matter, you know. Um, now that Steve Vai's playing here, someone else who I'd love to see that has played in this area before, but I wasn't into him then, is Satriani. Joe played in Casino and B, I think, in 2011, but it'd be cool if he came back, because yeah, Joe played Moncton in like 2011, but I wasn't listening to him then. But maybe he'll come back, you know, it's possible. I've never actually been to like an instrumental show before, so yeah, I'm making up for lost time with Satch. Love his latest album, Elephants of Mars. I think it's fantastic, and I'm still catching up. There's a lot of his albums I don't have, but one of my favorites that I've picked up is Shockwave Supernova. I think that's got some amazing, amazing music on it. But Elephants in Mars and In Violet are both like two of the best albums last year. Yeah, Moncton is one of my favorite places to not only see shows, but you know, pick up used music. It's got Spin It there. It's one of my favorite stores. And anytime there's a record expo in the area, that's always where it is. So, yeah, definitely somewhere to, you can go and, come back in the same day. I mean, I remember Satch from, I grew up watching Much Music, which was the Canadian equivalent of MTV, and the Power Hour was the equivalent, I guess you could say, of Headbangers Ball. It was the hard rock heavy metal show. They used to play. I remember seeing Satch Boogie. That was the first thing I ever saw from him, and they played Big Bad Moon a lot when it came out too. Um, I have no idea because he's been really prolific, which is cool. It's a lot for me to catch up on. I love Shockwave Supernova. Shapeshifting was good too. Crystal Planet. I mean, I think most people, is that generally considered to be one of his best? Because I love that one too. The Extremist is good. I mean, there's none of it's bad. And though I've been a fan of Steve Vai for longer, because I mean, David Lee Roth and then Whitesnake, so I was in tune with that, right? And I really got into Passion and Warfare because it came out at just the right time. I will say that Joe's stuff is it's a lot easier to listen to than some of Steve's. You have to be in the right, for some of Steve Vai's stuff, it's not the easiest listen. Like Modern Primitive, I have a hard time listening to all of that album. It's a long album, and some of it is just out there. But I love Fire Garden. Flexible is a really odd one, but I'm more amused by a lot of the stuff on Flexible. I almost listen to that like a comedy album. I love Passion and Warfare, though. That brings back great memories. I listened to that a lot the summer that came out. Fire Garden is amazing. I love Fire Garden. I like the vocal stuff on it, too. And I really like Inviolate. And I am missing quite a few. It's an EP, but I love Alien Love Secrets. I don't know how many times in the last couple of weeks I put Alien Love Secrets on. I think that's amazing. Really, really good. Yeah. Like I said, Passion and Warfare is not a typical album that I would have bought back in 1990, but like I said, it came out at the right time because I was way into Whitesnake and way into David Lee Roth, Van Halen, all of that stuff. So when I heard he was doing a new album, I just picked it up without hearing anything on it. It wasn't until after I picked it up that I saw the video for the audiences listening. I think I saw a pretty lengthy interview with him, which kind of made me interested in getting the album. Um, I'm looking forward to seeing him doing Teeth of the Hydra. See him play that beast of an instrument. Yeah, it's just the three of us now. What have we got here? Says there's 6 watching. Don't be shy, people. So okay. Who opened for that on Eat 'Em and Smile, Kevin? Because I know Cinderella opened for some of that. No, 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 no. This is great. This has been a great chat. Who opened for Steve Vai on the Eat 'Em and Smile? Cinderella. Cool. Cool. Very cool. Yeah, I'm happy to say that I got to see Cinderella. That's a band that I never thought I would have seen. So I can just imagine the acoustics are going to be just perfect. And like I said, I don't want to jinx it, but I do have something very cool coming up. See, that would have been my dream tour right there, to see Bon Jovi on the Slippery tour, because that was the whole gateway to me listening to music and collecting music and buying albums and wanting to buy every album by a band that I liked. Bon Jovi were the first concert I ever saw, but that wasn't until '93, and I talked about that not long ago when I went through the Keep the Faith tour book. One of my favorite things to do is to go through the concert history. Hi, Franz. How you doing? And venue it's now called the Cross Insurance Center, but most of my younger days it was called the Cumberland County Civic Center, and it's been there since 1977, which is in Portland, Maine, which is a little bit of a drive, but not that far. And seen Bon Jovi there and Kiss there. and looking through their concert history and some of the fantastic bills that passed through there before I started going to concerts. Now I've seen Bon Jovi twice in '93. I haven't seen them since. I don't know that I'd want to go see them now because I haven't been a big fan of much of the music they've done in the 2000s, but they'll always be a very, very important band to me. And I still love the first 5 albums a lot, especially the New Jersey album. Well, guys, I've been doing this for over an hour. This has been great. Appreciate everybody taking part in the chat, and I'll be doing it again for sure. But once again, anyone in that Fredericton area, hope to see you in a couple nights at Dolan's for Hysteria Montreal. And um, don't forget 6 hours, 22 minutes is the 35% off sale ending at T Public if anybody's interested in getting some merch. And it has been good talking to everybody. We'll do it again. Thanks everyone for watching, and I'm going to tidy this live broadcast up, and we'll see you all later. Have a great evening or whatever time it is in your area. Thanks, Franz.